And we heard the tune Carnival Time from the West Coast studio musician Tommy Tedesco. And to precede that tune, we heard from James Moody and the tune called Jammin' with James. And speaking of jam sessions, there is a event happening tomorrow at Hilton Head, and it's called the Poolside Jam. And what this is a jam session where any jazz musicians can sit in, and this is open to the public at no charge. And this is starting tomorrow at the Mariner's Inn at the Palmetto Dunes on Hilton Head Island. And this starts from 2:30 and will conclude at around 5:30. And the title of this event is Jazz in the Sunshine. And this is sponsored by Miss Terry Rennie Powers, and she can be contacted for more information on this. But this is a good chance for any area jazz musicians to set in on a free jam session, and the public is invited. And next we'll hear from the violinist Jean-Loup Ponty from his album Open Mind. And accompanying him is George Benson on a guitar solo. And we'll hear the tune Modern Times Blues. Pharaoh Sanders from his album Rejoice and the tune When the Lights Are Low. And before that cut, we heard from David Sanborn from his album Straight to the Heart and the tune Lisa. And now we'll hear from one of the new breeds of jazz guitarist, Mr. Pat Metheny, and the title cut from his 1984 album, The First Circle. The upper 40s is the low this evening with the winds near calm. And that's the weather forecast for Savannah and Chatham County. And tomorrow will be a very nice day to be outside with the highs in the upper 70s, winds from the east 5 to 10 miles per hour. And tomorrow night, fair with low in the low 50s. And on Sunday, a repeat of the beautiful weather for Saturday with the high around 80. It's 6 minutes after 10 here at the FM 91 studios on Liberty Street. And my name is Joe Darton, and you're listening to Jazz Played Here. Last month on this show, I announced the birth of my niece, who is now 5 weeks old. And I would like to dedicate this next song to the fine staff of nurses and doctors on the neonatal unit at Memorial Medical Center, and who is helping her recover from a 7-week premature birth. And this is, of course, to my niece, Miss Victoria Lee Reynolds. And the song is from a 1958 Newport Jazz Festival performance by Mr. Louis Armstrong. And the tune On the Sunny Side of the Street. And you're listening to Where Jazz is Played, FM 91, WSVH, Savannah. From the album At the Black Hawk, we heard from Mr. Thelonious Monk, and the tune, I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. And to begin this set, which started at around 10 o'clock, we heard from Louis Armstrong and On the Sunny Side of the Street. Then we heard the tune from Tim Weisberg from his high-risk album, Heart Child. Then we followed with Joe Pass on guitar and Niels Henning Orsted Peterson on bass, and a tune from the 1979 North Sea Jazz Festival from Holland, and their tune around about midnight. And then I think any jazz show wouldn't be complete without a tune from the master, in my opinion, of the tenor sax, Mr. John Coltrane, from his album Coltrane Time, any tune called Like Someone in Love. And keeping in the theme of tonight with jazz guitar, our next tune of this evening is from Wes Montgomery, and a tune written by Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and from his album A Day in the Life, Mr. Wes Montgomery. From a February 1959 recording, we heard Wednesday Night Prayer Meeting by Charles Mingus. You're listening to Jazz Played Here, and my name is Joe Darton, and it is 3 minutes before 11 o'clock here at FM 91, and we are playing this evening tunes with a jazz guitar and jazz saxophone beat. And here is a note for all the jazz or would-be jazz stars listening this evening. There is a event starting tomorrow and continuing every Saturday throughout the summer at Hilton Head at the Mariner Inn at Palmetto Dunes. And this is called Jazz in the Sunshine. And what this is a jam session where any jazz musician can come sit in. And the time for this is 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, and it will run about 3 hours long. And there is no admission for the public, and the weather for tomorrow is will be quite clear for this. The highs will be in upper 70s. So if you would like to sit by the pool and listen to some fine area jazz musicians, this is an excellent time. And this is at the Palmetto Dunes at the Mariner Inn on Hilton Head Island. Jazz in the Sunshine. You're listening to WSVH-FM 91, Savannah.
George Benson.
And that was from Lee Ritenour, tune Heavenly Bodies from his Banded Together album. And to begin this set of electric jazz guitar, we heard from George Benson, tune California Dreamin'. Next we heard from John Scofield and his Electric Outlet album, and the tune Pick Hits. Now let's return to a more traditional sound of jazz with Paul Desmond and the Modern Jazz Quartet performing You Go to My Head. With Charlie Rouse on tenor sax, Butch Warren bass, Frankie Dunlap on drums, and Mr. T, Thelonious Monk on piano. We heard Crisscross, recorded at the Newport Jazz Festival, which is in Newport, Rhode Island, on July 4th, 1963. Next we'll hear from the female jazz guitarist Emily Remler from her album Catwalk, and the tune Mozambique. The clarinet of Pete Fountain with That's a Plenty. And speaking of clarinet, Hail to the Licorice Stick, the clarinet in jazz, will be the feature of Larry Morrissey. He will be the host of Jazz Tonight Show which is our Saturday night jazz show tomorrow night at 9. And the rest of the Saturday night lineup here on FM 91. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, the ever popular A Prairie Home Companion with Garrison Keeler. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll hear the Between the Grooves show. And then, of course, at 9, Larry Morrissey will feature the music of the clarinet and jazz. The Coastal Jazz Association presents the Alan Simon Trio with vocalist Omar Curry, and the Savannah Jazz Orchestra Sunday, April 20th at 8 o'clock p.m. in the Johnny Mercer Theater of the Savannah Civic Center. And for ticket information, call the box office at the Civic Center. Number is 927-4438. And our next selection of the evening comes from the Jazz at the Philharmonic series. And this is a 25-minute jam called Cool Blues with Roy Eldridge and Charlie Shavers on trumpets, Bill Harris on trombone, Benny Carter and Willie Smith on alto sax, Lester Young and Ben Webster on tenor sax, Oscar Peterson on piano, Herb Ellis guitar, Ray Brown bass, and J.C. Hurd on drums. And this was recorded September 19th, 1953 at Carnegie Hall, New York City. And you are listening to WSVH Savannah, FM 91.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Owned and operated by Georgia Public Radio Incorporated, a nonprofit corporation, WSVH broadcast at a frequency of 91.1 megahertz with an effective radiated power of 100,000 watts as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission and serves eastern Georgia and southeastern South Carolina. This is WSVH Savannah, ending another broadcast day. And my name is Joe Darton, and thank you for listening, and good night.